Hollywood continues to slow boil the culture and crazy, yet their changes either go unnoticed or are treated as unimportant fluff. Well, Bounding into Comics has an article that spotlights a simple question, one that could have profound impact on everyone if it's not answered correctly. What actors can play what roles? You're going to say, George, I don't care anything about actors. But what if you replace the word actors with everyday people like you and me, and someone telling us what job we can or cannot have? All our futures would be boxed in at birth. Well, right now, Spider-Man actor Andrew Garfield has stepped up to fight for the future.
Be careful, will you?
You know, I'm doing damn good for a blind man.
What'd you say?
You know what? I'm getting tired of this deaf shit. You mean to tell me you can't hear anything I say? Even if I scream in your ear?
Well, I don't know. I've never tried it.
Shazam! Can you hear me?
No! Schmuck! I'm deaf! Now do you get it?
Acting. Welcome, Slayer Nation. I hope all of you are doing great. Aren't we living in interesting times? You know, Sir Ian McKellen gave one of his greatest performances over the last few weeks when he spoke from the heart about something he truly believed in. He can add Truth Teller now to the long list of accolades of his distinguished career. The man who's most famous for playing X-Men's Magneto and Lord of the Rings Gandalf put Hollywood on notice when he was defending his friend, Dame Helen Mirren. See, she was cast to play the former Israeli Prime Minister, Golda Meir, and some people took issue with it since she's not Jewish. They're saying, hey, you're not Jewish? Well, let me clue you in, folks. She also hasn't even been a prime minister of any country, let alone Israel. McKellen, though, seems to have served as an example for many by bunking the Tinseltown trend of quota casting actors with a lived-in experience that would match the characters they want to play. That caught Andrew Garfield's attention, and he joined the dance. Well, while Hollywood was busy working overtime to elevate lunacy as a universal truth, Bounding into Comics covers Garfield's views on this quota casting craze and on the possible death of imagination. Now, let's jump into this article. It's titled, Andrew Garfield Weighs In on Hollywood Casting Practices, Warns About the Death of Imagination. See, Garfield was talking to the Telegraph about his latest Netflix film, Tick, Tick, Boom, when the discussion came up about Hollywood casting practices, and that led to the topic of, can a straight actor play a gay character? And here's what he said. I think it's two different conversations getting conflated. One is about equality of opportunity, and I'm completely in on that. Because we should want a world in which no matter your sexual orientation, your color, or your heritage, everyone gets a fair whack. But the other is about empathic imagination. And if we only allow people to be cast as exactly who they are, it'll be the death of it. So that makes absolute sense. I completely agree with Garfield. What's he saying? You have a movie, you have a part, and then you have the actor. Does he have the skills and the talent to play the role? Does he in any way meet the characteristics needed for it? If he does, that's a match made in heaven, pure and simple. It makes sense. That should be open to anyone. He's saying it doesn't matter about your color, the creed, nationality, what your religious beliefs are, or who you want to sleep with. That is all your private business. But it should be a level playing field so everyone can have a shot at the title. And Hollywood is saying, whoa, 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 slow your roll there, buckaroo. Uncle Holly doesn't play it that way anymore. No, 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 no. Ever since we jumped on that lunacy train with all the acronym agendas like DIE, you know, the diversity, inclusion, and equality, Hollywood just don't roll that way anymore. No, sir. What they want to do is they want to play identity politics. See, Hollywood has forgotten what they do and who they are. They used to bottle magic and paint it up on the big screen or bring it into your television set in your living room while you lounged on the couch. And you would pay them money and you'd have a good time. You'd cry tears and hug your wife, or you'd look at your kids with a smile. You'd get all pumped up and geared up for action after watching a good action flick. But you had a wonderful time and you paid them money. Now Hollywood says, no, doesn't work that way. We're going to preach to you. Pay us.
If you do win an award tonight, Don't use it as a platform to make a political speech, right? You're in no position to lecture the public about anything. You know nothing about the real world. Most of you spent less time in school than Greta Thunberg.
They don't care about you anymore. And that's because they forgot who they were. Because at the end of the day, these are people who play pretend. And when they really get their asses handed to them in Hollywood, that's when they confuse reality with make-believe, when they cross the streams. Because see, when it boils right down to it, these are inveterate liars. These are professional hobos. Their game is to panhandle for fame and cash. That's it. It's politics that has messed this all up. They want to be able to cast a shark as a dolphin and go, hey, it's a dolphin. No.
Your job is to create a real, live, breathing, full, rich, multifaceted, convoluted, complex person, and that's very difficult to do if you don't care about that person.
But Andrew Garfield didn't stop there. He continued. So the two separate conversations have to happen simultaneously because I'm not willing to support the death of empathic imagination. It's what we need most as a culture, and it's beautiful. It's the only thing that's going to save us right now. Do not let imagination be killed. Do not turn life into this drab, dreary, dark day where there's no longer fantasy and magic of film or television. But Garfield has stood up to fight against that. Maybe that's why the media has turned a blind eye. Or maybe they're worried the same way Garfield was inspired by Ian McKellen, someone would be inspired by Garfield as a symbol of hope. And hope is a dangerous thing. And speaking of McKellen, Bounding into Comics brings up the original interview that sparked Garfield to stand up. That's when Sir Ian McKellen spoke with BBC media editor Amo Rajan. And he was defending Helen Mirren because, again, you shouldn't have a problem with an actor playing any role. Here's what he said.
What do you think of that idea that you should have Jewish people play Jewish characters? Or indeed whether in other worlds you need gay people to play gay characters?
Well, there's two things, is it? Is the argument that a Gentile cannot play a Jew? And is the argument, therefore, that a Jew cannot play a Gentile? Is the argument that a straight man cannot play a gay part? And if so, does that mean I can't play straight parts and I'm not allowed to explore the fascinating subject of heterosexuality in Macbeth? Surely not. We're acting. We're pretending.
And that's exactly right. Hollywood has forgotten the definition of what an actor is. These are people who play pretend. Garfield and McKellen, they're saying everyone should get a shot at playing the role. It shouldn't be about identity politics. It shouldn't be about who matches what agenda. Are you an actor? Do you have the chops for it? Do you in any way match the role? You go for it. And Bounding into Comics wants to add a footnote into that. And here's what they had to say. Both actors make valid points. However, the discussion is also a little bit more complex than both make it out to be. Actors should be cast to match up to how their characters have been previously portrayed in the source material that is being adapted or how the historical figure looked in real life. I have a point there. Now, I know Garfield and McKellen didn't mention that, but it was a more nuanced conversation. I thought that was in the undertone of it. Because what Bounding into Comics is stating there, hey, you can't have Nicolas Cage playing Martin Luther King, just like you can't have Russell Crowe turning around and playing Shaka Zulu. It just doesn't work. But Hollywood has taken it one step further. It's like they not only want to have people like Marissa Tomei being able to play someone like a Rosa Parks, which would be outlandish. You just can't do that. Why can't you do that? For the same reason Crow can't play Shaka Zulu, because you would rob the rich story and the history from that character, because color had a part to play in that. That was part of the experience. But it is the exact same reason why, like I said in the beginning, a shark can't play a dolphin. It's just not done. Now, Hollywood has one primary goal: to win this culture war. And you must understand, this begins there on a studio backlot. But one day, trust me, in one form, fashion, or another, it will find its way to the front steps of your back porch, to the heart of your home. Radicals use Hollywood to test torture their culture cures. It's like a petri dish. And once they're done beta testing, they rent out all these lobbyists to purchase politicians who'll put a seal of approval from the legislature in order to mass market their viral strains and change the culture. Now, you have a choice. It starts with actors, but one day it's going to happen to you if you don't put a stop to it. How do you do that? You just use common sense. You withhold money from those who hate you. You withhold your time from those who chastise you. You share with people, just like when you watch this video, you talk about it with your friends and your family. You say, hey, you know what? Why are we rewarding those who despise us? Why are we spending time with those people who don't respect us? No. You deserve to watch a company who makes films when they actually go, I love making movies and I want to make the customer happy. That's what you should spend your time in. And there are plenty of shows out there. You can watch anime, or you can watch Squid Game, you can watch Yellowstone. There's lots of material out there. You just have to dig for it a little bit. But one thing you cannot stop doing is to give in. Never stop fighting. And remember, never bow down, never bend the knee. Firmly define. Step up, stand tall, and get busy living your best life now. Always forward.
All the world's a stage, all the men and women merely players. It's our characteristic as human beings that we are capable of acting and presenting different sides of ourselves.